Ladies and gentlemen, birds and bees, telephones and hand grenades, please welcome to this humble establishment the reason for your very existence. Little Tin Frog.
Owen and I were working together at Warehouse Records, and not even in really cool jobs, I guess. I was like a market manager's assistant. I wasn't like working the floor.
I was always writing music and wanted to form a band, but I'd never met the right people. What I was looking for in someone to play with is somebody who was like into melody and like would come up with like good tunes to things. So I think like right off I thought like Christina had like lots of melody ideas, and also she writes fast. Like I feel like I'm kind of slow and like think a lot, and so that seemed like a good mix. So
I write fast, but I don't think is what I got out of this.
So I think we just started writing songs.
Yeah, Mushroom Man is the one. Like I was over at your house. You and Jennifer invited me over for dinner, and then Owen and I were like just playing around, and Owen started playing something, or I started singing something. That's.
I think you had that song, and then I added
Mushroom
like,
Man.
music to it.
Yes. So we were singing this Mushroom Man, and I think what Owen said to me after he heard that song was that I have to play music with you or something like that. And I was just like, let's do it! And it was like one of those moments. I don't know how else you meet people. It was just one of those moments. And Owen is probably the best guitar player that I've ever played with. And I love his style of music. I think both of us musically just spoke to each other. Like, and we just did it. And within a couple months, we were literally in a band. Like, it was no time wasted. We just wrote a couple songs together within a month, I think. And then putting up flyers for drummers, like within, very soon after that. I think it wasn't very long at all.
I remember it a little differently.
All right, cool.
So we met here in Berkeley, and we were, playing music together for a while. Then we lived in Marin for a little bit, and then we went to live with your uncle for like.
Oh my God, we did! I forgot.
Colorado.
I like to speed up my memory and just like, yes, we did go plant trees.
We were gonna go to Naropa instead.
Right, and then we ended up not going there, and then we planted trees on my uncle's property to kill time.
But effectively, what we did when we were there is.
Yes. I learned to play bass jumping on the trampoline.
So Christine learned how to play bass, and we were like actually really disciplined about writing songs. We had like a sheet that had like each song and where it was, like what it was missing.
And we were so diligent.
We decided we didn't like the Colorado thing, so we came back and we decided to live. We still wanted to live in the Bay Area, but it was quite expensive, so we decided to live in Petaluma. So it's maybe an hour north of San Francisco. Now it's actually quite expensive there as well.
Big.
But at the time it was a lot cheaper, and so our idea was let's be in a place where we can like not have to work quite as much, and so we can focus on playing music.
Even though I always had a full-time job the whole time.
Yeah, you're pretty good at that actually.
We put up a Rhythm Section 1 ad flyer. And we were so into They Might Be Giants, it was stupid. Like, we loved They Might Be Giants so much that we would play the albums over and over again, and a roommate of ours would bang on the wall to get us to shut the hell up. It was so terrible. We played it all. We were obsessed with They Might Be Giants. Yeah. Obsessed.
So I think that's kind of how we connected with Logan.
Yes, definitely. He basically tore that flyer off the pole and called us right when he saw it. He was so excited, and we'd already been to a couple. Didn't we already have like a couple people call us, and it wasn't that great? Am I thinking of a different band? It's possible that
No. We met with like 3 other drummers. One of them was like basically a metal drummer.
With the drum cage. Was the guy with the drum cage?
I don't know. Yeah, the drum cage.
I swear there was one drummer where we couldn't hear each other, and you were just like smiling and staring at me the whole time because we were just playing, and there was nothing but him. It was just like boo 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 boo.
I think the drum cage adds to the story. Everything else about it is exactly what happened. But I remember one thing that stands out about the Logan thing is I think he didn't have his drum kit in town.
He didn't know how to play drums. He'd only been playing 6 months.
Yeah. I think what happened is the first time we played with him, he came to our apartment,
Yes.
and he was just playing on pots and pans.
And jars of beans, because I was a hippie
Yeah.
and I kept all my food in jars. So we had like beans and rice and stuff. And he just loves our music. We play a song for him and he's just tapping along on pots and pans and shaking jars and stuff like that. And then after we play together, I remember when we were done, he just said, "I love this band," and we were just like, "Oh my God, this is so great!" It was so great. It was just love at first play.
We were nerdy, but Logan was like more nerdy than us, for sure. We were driving in the car and we were listening to like, let's say like the Back to the Future soundtrack or something like that, some like orchestral thing. And he's like singing the oboe part. Like he would know like what each thing in the orchestra was doing.
He had like a photographic, whatever you call it, photogenic mind. He had a photographic mind that was also very photogenic. He could remember any place he'd ever been, how you get there. It was just like his mind was like a grid, and that sort of was one of the reasons he was so good at music. He could just remember every piece. You never had to worry about forgetting something because he would just be there. He didn't forget anything. I never remember him forgetting anything. Of course, I might have forgotten.
Not too long after that, we actually moved out to this like kind of terrible place. This guy named Gary owned. It was always we called it Gary's compound.
It was a
and
compound.
Like basically some like land he owned like outside of town in Petaluma. It just had a bunch of like mobile homes on it.
No, not even. It was like truck parts and like boxes.
We lived in a trailer.
Because the rent was like $200.
It was like crazy cheap. This was actually one of the most fun times, I think, because we were basically like playing music
every night,
every day.
Yeah.
With Logan, practicing.
Yeah, sometimes 3 to 6 hours. Like we were just playing all the time.
The way we got our first show was that Logan lived in the dorms at Sonoma State. He just got us to play like in the dorms, basically. And we had like 3 hours of music or something. It was completely ridiculous. We didn't know that you just like need like 10 songs.
Like 10 songs max. We're just like, let's just play everything we know.
Yeah. So we had like 30 songs at our first show.
It was ridiculous. But it was not unsuccessful.
Oh, our band name is Little Tit Frog. Just for you illiterate people. It's called Waiting to Be. 2, 3, 4.
My name is Owen Otto. I am 24. I play guitar.
I'm Christine. I'm 27 years old. Can you believe it?
My name's Logan Whitehurst. I play the drums.
And the concertina.
And the concertina.
My grandfather gave me a concertina. My grandfather was a musician and gave me lots of instruments. Well, I had this concertina forever. And I gave it to Logan one night and he took it home and I swear the next day he's like opening for bands with it.
Christine's grandfather had this concertina. Yeah, and it was really funny. Anything you guys want to promote really quick?
Our candy bars. I make them myself.
I don't feel like in making all the swag. Okay, we'll go swag. It's cooler. Making all that stuff wasn't hard. It was time consuming, but we had so much fun doing it. You know, and it was all hand drawn. We didn't do it on computers, and then we'd go photocopy them at work or whatever, and send them out. And it was just so fun, and everybody was so talented and had things to offer. Owen Landers. This is where a kid writes in. It says, "Dear Owen, this guy at school is picking on me. What should I do about it?" I love the answer.
Dear kid, you've got to understand that this bully's actions are a product of his own insecurities. Most bullies are plagued by deep feelings of powerlessness and inferiority, which they compensate for by using their physical prowess to give themselves a feeling of self-worth. Since you're a weak, scrawny geek and totally incapable of fighting back, I suggest that you also find someone weaker than yourself to pick on. Every time that bully pushes you or calls you a name, go back to your honors class and break some geek's glasses.
And there's just like a lot more, but this is how dorky we were.
I like this one, the John Paul Sartre Ringo.
That is one of my favorites. That is one of my favorites.
So yeah, it was just like making little like, I guess they were almost like zines.
They were zines. Geek zines.
Yeah, I don't remember thinking that at the time.
Crossword puzzles. So I don't even know, we didn't think in terms of let's do something to get the people in. I think we were just sitting around having fun. We'd play music for a couple hours and then we'd also just want to do more art. And it just was natural that was what we'd also then show people that we were playing to. Like, you know, we're not just musicians, we're also hilarious, you know, or really talented.
We're trying
really hard to be funny. We played in the scene in Sonoma, which was full of ska and punk bands, and you just tend to play with the same bands kind of over and over again. So we played with the band called Tin Circus a lot and got to know them, and I started dating Judah. And when his band kicked him out, they had some sort of like falling out. But he was kicked out of the band, and I sort of brought him into our band. It wasn't what everybody wanted to do, but it happened, and then we were glad we did it because he added so much to the band. And me stepping away from the bass. I'm a really quirky bass player, and I have my own style, and I can't take lessons, and I, for the life of me, can't really learn how to play bass. But for some reason, it works for what I do. But in terms of what it limited our growth in the band. You know, we would always just had like one sound, but Judah really took it into a polished kind of arena. Those boys really bonded, and I think the music just took off. And so he just got in the band sort of by sleeping with me. I don't know.
Judah was like a really good bass player.
He's amazing.
So he's like the kind of person who could like play bass and people would be blown away by like the skill.
Yeah, and he played with a bowed bass. He had an electric upright bass custom made for him, but he was already like just super good at it, and he would do all sorts of like Jimi Hendrix moves with that damn thing. He was so good, good. He's super talented, and he could sing.
I think it was a great change because it wasn't just that we added this like great bass player. It was also then you started getting Logan and Judah singing harmonies.
Yes, that's when the backup singing started happening, and them singing is what got him singing. And he was always shying away from singing, and I always liked the way he sang. There's a quality to Owen's voice that translates well, and I loved it. And so the fact that those boys were singing finally got Owen to sing, and so then we had more of a all the boys singing is amazing, and the girls loved it. Oh my god, the girls loved it. The young girls loved it. Our fan base went through the roof when you guys started singing together, and you guys were really playing together like a band. And I honestly feel that the three of you together were the band, and that at that point when you guys became the band, I was just the front person at that time.
complex. If you could read my mind, I would change it all the time. If you could read my mind, I would change it all the time. I left my suitcase on your bed, and I know you tried to open it. You're sucking nervously on each item cloak. Gives you away, it's silly to use. Suppose that the pin with the dials in its head you did find is a complete coincidence. Am I the one to blame for your anexophobic complex? If you could read my mind, I would change it all the time. If you could read my mind, I would change it all the So he says, and I think maybe he doesn't realize what he just said. Doesn't he know that's all there is? And you're only sad because you're sick of being led around with a carrot and stick. Really, I'm the one who should be annoyed, wasting my energy on a wooden boy. And the subsequent disappearance of me is a complete coincidence. And I'm the one to blame for my psychological complex. If you could read my mind, I would change it all the time. If you could read my mind, I would change it all the time.
To me, it just seemed like it was kind of had run its course. Like it just felt like we'd done the ideas that we had. And
It didn't feel like that for me.
It just seemed like we'd worked really hard at it, and it was kind of like time to do something different. That's how it felt to me.
But literally, those boys broke up with us. To our faces in my barn. And you and I were on the floor crying on each other. It was bad.
To be honest, though, I sort of felt good about it. Like, I agree with you that it did happen. Because I think, like, it was kind of a thing where you ever wind up in these situations, like, in relationships or with a job or whatever, where it's kind of like you're really attached to this thing, but it's also gotten kind of bad, but you're basically, like, too attached to it to just kind of be, like, you're unsure. It's kind of, like, not bad enough that you're just going to completely leave it. So I think it was, like, kind of like that for me. So when they quit, it was like sort of a relief to me a little bit.
Later. Not that night.
Not that night. Scratch it up. Yeah.
Maybe the next day. I moved to San Francisco, changed my name to Anna for about a year. Then I started playing music with another guy that was in the scene that we knew. And he is an amazing guitar player too. And I just made some fantastic music with that guy. And we came out with an album under the New Happiness. We got married and we moved to Iowa together. And we played music together for like 2.5 years. And it was really, really good. Really good. So that's what I did, and then after that marriage ended, it was, it was just back to me. I played around a little bit with somebody else for a while and put out another album. But I haven't done much since then. So I opened a restaurant after that, and then I ran a vegan restaurant in Iowa for 5.5 years. And I moved to Portland. There's my life in a nutshell.
I actually kind of like quit my job and went to like the junior college and took music classes and was like practicing a lot for a year and just like writing songs on my own and this kind of thing. Then I decided to go back to Berkeley and finish my undergrad degree, and I was always like playing music a little bit. Basically, I did a bunch of like things you do, like go to school and get degrees and have jobs, but I've always just been like doing music. Then I had this thing with a few other guys called Digital Crafts Night. It started as like, we're gonna get together one night a week and we're just gonna all do creative stuff in this one night. It can be like, you can play music, you can make like a flash video, you can do whatever you want. And then it kind of wound up being a band. And so we did that actually for like 5 years or something, one night a week playing. And basically about a year ago, we finished making an album. It was like one night a week that just like added up into one 10-song album.
Van Gogh's here.
Thanks. Thank you.
Holy crap!
So, he and Judah were playing in the Velveteen and they were doing tours and stuff. And all of a sudden, Logan just started like waking up in the morning and vomiting. And just being like really like randomly sick. But then he'd be fine. And then it would happen again. So it was this and other various weird symptoms. The doctors didn't know what it was. And then I think finally they did like a brain scan or whatever and figured it out. Yeah, so you kind of were finding out as it unfolded.
I learned because Owen called me, and I just opened my restaurant. It was super, super hard. I was working like 70 hours a day, and he calls, and I just remember just having a complete breakdown. Like I couldn't work. I had to basically shut my restaurant for the day and just cry in my office. It was bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. When somebody has brain cancer, and they have the surgery, everybody like acts really optimistic, like everything's going to be fine, and I just like kind of believed them. Like I don't think I really like thought that he would ever.
I don't know that we can pinpoint what we brought that each other didn't have. You know what I mean? I don't know that we can pinpoint that, because I think we all had pieces of the puzzle. It's like saying, and I'm not comparing us to the Beatles, but it is saying that could the Beatles have existed without each person in that band? You know, but they didn't exactly have different things they brought into the band. They just worked well together at that moment in time. They all inspired each other in ways that was perfect at that time. So we were able to inspire each other in whatever way we could, whether it was positive or negative, in a way that created the energy that we needed to write the music that we did. And we couldn't have written anything without Logan. We couldn't have written anything without Owen. We probably could have done it without Judah for the first 2 years.
Probably.
Clearly, if we have to say one person had a skill, I think our own instruments were the skill that we each had that we brought to the table. Owen is a fantastic guitar player. Judah was an amazing bass player. Logan was an incredible drummer who kept time with his eyes. And I'm a good singer, and I think that just worked. And we just liked each other for 4 years of the 5 years. We liked each other, and we played music together.
Was it 5 years? I thought it was 4 years.
I thought we went from 95 to 2000.
I think like when I look back on this, I'm like, that's actually a really long time for a band to be together.
Yeah.
Like just on your own. Yeah, and to make like, I don't know, 3 albums or however you count it, and to play like 450 shows. I think that was the first thing I ever did in my life that was kind of like not on the conveyor belt. This is what I think about when you're like, okay, you're in 2nd grade, go to 3rd grade, you're in 3rd grade, go to 4th grade, and on up, you're in college.
High school.
Yeah, and this was like, we were like figuring out how to do it all ourselves. There was no like...
We had no mentors.
Exactly.
And I get what Owen's talking about. Like, I remember kind of snapping into existence when we first started writing music together, because my whole life had been like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing. I have a job now, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden I play music. And it's like your whole paradigm, your whole being shifts and you're a new person.